I would like to take this opportunity to invite Dr. Jamil Darwish AlShaqsi. Dr. Jamil will be the chairman of the panel Skills for Future Jobs CEO discussion. Dr. Jamil is the assistant professor in machine learning and data mining at the Sultan Qaboos University. He's also a senior member of the Oman IT Society. Dr. Jamil has won Sheikh Tamim, the Amir of Qatar's Award for Excellence in Computing. And I would like to request Dr. Jamil to please come and occupy the chairman of the panel seat. Dr. Jamil. I would like to welcome our panelists, our distinguished panelists. As you can see on the screen, this is Dr. Ahmed Dabbagh. Dr. Ahmed is joining us from the United Arab Emirates. He's the Director of Professional Services at the Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. As we know, Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence is a dream university of the future, and we are so happy to have Dr. Ahmed Dabbagh joining us from the United Arab Emirates via Zoom. Dr. Ahmed is a pioneer in innovation, in artificial intelligence and future technologies. Welcome to the panel, Dr. Ahmed. Now I would like to invite our next panelist, Dr. Hussein Al-Salmi. Dr. Hussein is the acting rector of German University of Technology in Oman, GHEDEX, and he's also the CEO of Oman Education Services, LLC. We have a lot of research and technology, and of course we've seen the awards the German University of Technology has won. So this is really useful to have the contribution of Dr. Hussein Al-Salmi onto the panel. Our next panelist is the famous Saud Zayed Al-Zakwani. I say he's famous as his work has made him famous. In our last event, Big Data and Analytics, Saud and his team for his company, Petroleum Development Oman, won 4 awards. And as you have seen today, they won 3 awards. The work, the depth of the work in data, in future technologies by Saud and his team is exemplary. And we're really proud to have you, Saud, on the panel. As we heard from the keynote speakers that rote learning, which is memorizing, and not being able to read, which was something instructed to many of us here, these are some of the things, and these start very early at the school level. And I have Kamilya Al Lamki. Kamilya is the superintendent and is the head of school of a new international school, which is also called the New World International School. Kamilya is educated in the States, in University of Texas, in education administration, and we like to addition to the panel of somebody who's working with very young children and trying to see how we can start future skills at a very early age. Thank you, Kamilya, for accepting and being here. I would like to now invite Laila Abdullah Al-Hadhrami. Laila worked for the Oman Information Technology, ITA Information Technology Authority with Dr. Salim Al-Rizaihi for many years, and now moved to a private initiative organization where she's working on the Oman's first smart city initiative. Laila is the head of executive team of the Oman Information Society as well. I'm very happy to work with Laila because societies can do so much more, and globally societies and universities working with companies and research firms like us contribute a lot. Thank you, Laila. I would like to invite Warith Al Kharusi. I have known Warith for over 20 years now. He used to be with Petroleum Development Oman on a very senior leadership level. He's the chairman of Oman Center for Skill Development. And here we are talking about skill development, MAHARAT. He's also the chair of the CILT, which is the chapter for Logistics Technology Oman. And he's the deputy chair of the National Transport Review Committee and a board member of Oman Logistics Association. As we all know, Oman is depending a lot on its logistics capability. What does the future skills have in this area? And our last panelist, a very important young entrepreneur businessman, Aditya Khimji. Aditya is working with future technologies. He belongs to the Ramesh Khimji group of companies, and his passion is to work on future technologies such as drones, AI, data science, and many more interesting things. So without further delay, I would like to request the chairman, Dr. Jamil Darwish AlShaqsi, to take this panel forward and make it a useful discussion. And I quote this because with my university, Strathclyde, it is called the place of useful learning. And I hope this event is a place of useful learning. Thank you, Dr. Jamil.
Welcome to the last session today, which is going to be like a panel about again future skills and so. Now we're going to start like our last session today, which is the future skills. As I just stated, that it's a bit scary. Why it's a bit scary? As you can see that the title, future skills, that means qualification will no longer be important, and in future employers will be looking really for the skills rather than the degree, or is it going to be a combination of both? So graduates are required to have, beside their degrees, they are required also to have some skills which will ensure that a company will stay competitive in the industry, or organization will fulfill like its needs, and so it's kind of like satisfy customers' needs. When we define future skills, as I just stated, that it's the skills that will ensure a company will stay competitive in the industry. To answer these questions and many other questions, we have our panelists today, and I will start with Dr. Ahmed, because we are having you online. So Dr. Ahmed, in your perspective, which one is really more important, skills or the degree? And what is the right strategy to hire the right talent? We're not going today to call them job seekers. We're going to call them talent, because we believe that they are an asset, they have values and so. So what is the right strategy to hire the right talent to answer future skills?
Thank you very much. First, it's a big pleasure being with you. And unfortunately, yes, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, very good, excellent. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much having me with you. And unfortunately, I'm not attending in person, but next time, inshallah, I will be with you. It's always a pleasure being in Oman, and specifically in Muscat. Answering to your question, this is really a critical question here, but because this question, it lasts for a while, and still we are asking this question, and we are still debating. Having a diploma or having a degree, it's a must, but having skills, it's very, very important. I think we can couple both of them. That in any academic institution, they should not think about only the academic degree. They have to think about the professional track, where we call it like the coupling between the academic track and the vocational track. Why? Because in the academic track, we have a clear output, which is either will be a researcher, or he will be like a faculty at a university in a high degree, or to pursue a certain critical positions. But having said that, in vocational, that we are more concentrated in the skills and the competences of the persons. And coupling both of them, I think here the graduate people, they will be more fit to the market need than having a people only that they have degrees and they are seeking for jobs. As I already initiated that my talk will be the differentiation between the soft skills and the hard skills. I think the most important thing is that we have to concentrate on the soft skills. Honestly, hard skills, from a while, we have universities are doing the hard skills. We have vocational institutions are doing the hard skills. We have training centers are doing the hard skills. But who's doing the soft skills? When I have an engineer graduated from a university, does this engineer fit to the market need? This is the big question. if he has the soft skills, being an entrepreneur, or having a great communication skills, or having the critical thinking and the analytics, and also the problem solving, I think he has no issue to be integrated to any company or to any entity, government entity, and he can adapt his skills to the hard skills needed in these companies. Hard skills, we can learn them, and we have the knowledge, I think, is disseminated over internet and over schools and everything. But coupling the hard skills with the soft skills is really a matter of starting it in early stage. I think starting from early stage, that to prepare the leaders of the future or the engineers of the future, we have to start from schools. And here, that's where the soft skills are really, when I teach critical thinking or problem solving to pupils in schools, they have to learn how to do basic coding. They have to learn how to do logic design. They have to learn to do small robotics. And here, as we see that we extract the mindset of people not to be concentrated on knowledge, but also to be aware to the skills and the competencies. And here, this is always my message from years, that universities should redesign their curriculum to be more on the vocational than from the academic. One of the universities, I will not name it, they did this, that they have the academic track. At the same time, they created the professional certificate tracks in parallel to the academic track. At the end, the student is prepared to the market need. And here the market need, this is, as you said, Doctor, it's scary to say the future of job, which means we have new jobs, we have to kill the old jobs. Where to go? In this case, this is the new skills or new jobs. They are from the market need. This is the market. That's where we are now concentrated in the fourth industrial revolution, where we have new skills to be implemented. But some statistics says that we have to kill 12 million old jobs, but in return, we have to replace them with 18 million new jobs.
Okay, great, Dr. Ahmed. I'll come back to you later on, regarding the soft skills and the hard skills. Now, I'll move to Aditya Khimji. Aditya, Dr. Ahmed just mentioned about hard skills and soft skills. So my question to you, what do you look for when you recruit talents, and what is your philosophy in your company to develop talents in Oman to compete globally?
Sure, thank you. Appreciate being here, and salam alaikum to everybody. I think I'd like to rephrase what you're asking me based on what I heard from Dr. Ahmed as well. When I first joined my family business, it's 12 years now. I studied in Boston. When I came back here, if I judge my business based on everything I learned in university, it's not a fair justice to the company. Not taking anything away from the company or saying my company is anything less than what we studied in our case studies. But I think we have to understand that we have to first understand the company. And this is just as true for an employee joining a company. When I'm recruiting someone or someone is looking to join our company, it's important as much for us to understand the employee as the employee to understand the company itself. What we talk about today with emotional intelligence, it is a very high priority skill according to the studies, that's correct. But for that to apply in our industry or in our country, first we have to empower our employees to value from that, opportunity. Are we still running in silos? Are we still giving instruction of tasks of work to be done? Or are we empowering them to figure it out? Again, it's not up to the company alone, it's also up to the education system to bring these kids into the workforce ready to make an impact. And that doesn't mean that failure cannot happen. That doesn't mean they need to learn from. The companies have become more and more accepting of failure in the past in Oman as well. So they're good signs. But at the end, we need to understand our business before we make those changes, and make small changes at a time that can make longer lasting impact. That's, I think, I'm not sure if I answered everything.
Yeah, okay, I'll come back to you later on. I'd like now to move to Laila. Laila, I want to be asking about the smart cities and how you managed to save that 10 millions. And was it in Gala or okay, they are more interested, like to take as an example. According to my knowledge that you have graduated from Sultan Qaboos University with a degree in English literature, but nowadays we can see you as an IT leader, as an icon in smart cities. So tell us like more about your journey in making this big jump from an English literature to one of the needed skills nowadays. And what is even your advice like for the talents here?
Thank you, Dr. Jamil, for asking this question. And let me correct something. It's not 10 million, it's 1 million.
1 million? I thought it was 10.
You are trying to make troubles for me. Before starting, first, I'm so much happy and proud to see the leaders of futures are attending here with their uniforms. Big salute to these leaders with their teacher, because they are empowering them from now. If we are going to speak about the future IT skills, we should start earlier. So really big salute to their teacher and schools for bringing the future leaders to this session. And if you go and speak to the young leaders, and I always call them the young leaders because they are going to be the leaders who lead Oman. If you discuss with them, you will find out that they have a fresh and unique information that sometimes we feel that we are out of date. They're speaking sometimes about the new technologies, about the nanotechnology, because one of the funny stories that happened to me once, in a family gathering, my cousins, and who are most of them in school, and they were discussing with my auntie, who's a teacher, and they were speaking about the nanotechnology. That was 4 years ago. To be honest, I didn't know what is nanotechnology. So I said, what is nanotechnology? They look at me a strange look. How comes that you are asking about this? It's about, the skills, how they are getting that skills, and all of us, we should keep updating ourselves with what's happening around the world. So as Dr. Jamil, you asked me about how I moved from English literature to smart cities. It's about, continuous improvement, because, every time we are learning something new. Should we stay on the same phase or should we, continue? It depends, in each person in this life. Do we need to stay on that level or not? I have to say that my mother is one of the inspiring people in my life. Although she never continued her education, she just, studied till grade 5. Because, at that time, my grandmom, she got twin and she was the eldest. So she has to do the sacrifice. But she said, I was so much happy about that because I was not good in English and math. So she raised her, helped her mom to raise her siblings. But she never stopped from learning. As soon as we started with the smart technologies, the smart mobiles, my mother at the beginning, she resisted to have that mobile. She said no. And everyone was resisting, the smart mobiles when we started that, trend. But, there was like a shock. So my brother, he said, here is the mobile for you. And now you can use it. She's a good reader. She's always reading the magazines, the newspapers. And I remember that she said, can you open for me YouTube? I need to learn something. Can you open for me Google? And she said, Mama, YouTube and Google in front of you, you can't do it. Nowadays, whenever any one of us, just, sick or anything, she said, you have to do this exercise for your back. You have to do this and this and this. So the learning is not becoming an excuse. So all of us now, we can adapt learning because we have the technology in front of us, and each one of us can move and learn. So this is how, I can share with you, Dr. Jamil, and everyone, that we have the learning available. We have the technologies in front of us. All of us, we can learn, and we should not say they did not invest on us. The learning is free, and we can go ahead with it.
I'll take one more question for you because Dr. Salim is here. Well, you said that, yes, because you work hard for yourself. Now, because you belong to the Oman IT Society, what are the contribution of Oman IT Society to the talents? Do you provide like free workshop training and so to enhance the skills of these talents? Because not anyone can have the opportunity that you gain and to move from your previous like background to a new one, and then to even like to lead like higher position and so. So what Oman IT Society like provide for the talents? Any training, free workshop, and so? And Dr.
This
Salim
is
is
really
here.
a good question. I'm really so much proud to answer it, and I always like to call him the godfather of ICT sector. Because whenever somebody is asking me, where are you from? I will say ex-ITA. So because you know what I have to say about ITA, then I will move to Oman IT Society. Because what we are now trying to work in Oman IT Society is just the same successful environment that we have started in ex-ITA, because Oman, Dr. Salim, he believed on the investment of each employee. Even the drivers, you know, the senior jobs that you can imagine in ITA, all of us, we have been given, you know, the opportunity of dedicated training. And at that time, when I joined, you know, ITA, I was coming from another organization. I was having 2 opportunities, for example, for soft skills only every year. As soon as I joined ITA, in 2 months, I learned a lot of things. And when I say a lot of things, it was not just about, you know, that I am as a content writer, I am as a digital transformation. We have been given different opportunities. So we have been empowered with the learning and the training and the continuous improvement. So I would like really to say thank you to Dr. Salim, that your fingerprint that you have, you know, created in ITA previously, now we continue to, lead it in Oman IT Society. And many people, they say, why you are keep having a lot of workshops? You might have been trained.
So you do provide workshops?
Exactly, a lot of workshops, and we should never stop. And we are trying to target.
Where do you announce them?
It's in our social media. Go to OITS. So we are always, and every year we have like a unique theme. This year we have focused on Aman cybersecurity. Because of COVID-19, you know, we are becoming smarter, and the hackers are becoming more smarter.
Are they free workshops, free of charge?
Well, it is a volunteer, and as soon as you're coming in, you're gonna improve your skills. And I'm so much happy that you are also one of our ambassadors, Dr. Jamil. So yes, so this is what we are now trying to do in Oman IT Society, that we are targeting the smart community. And when I say smart community, we start from the future leaders at schools, universities, the governments, the private sector. We are trying to link between all of them in one community, because nowadays, if you want to create a powerful education, it has to target all the different sectors in the community.
Thank you. Now I'll jump to Zakwani. Hey man, you inspired us. Like last time you won 4 awards, and today 2 awards, and the best of the best. So congratulations for that. First of all, please take the mic. Zakwani, you have worked with the machines, data, human resource, and so data analytics. And now today we are talking about future skills. Based on your experience, what are the difference between like all these disciplines, and what is like and how does PDO like utilize the available resources? I work as assistant professor at Sultan Qaboos University, and we have like some of your staff actually who take master courses as in machine learning and data mining. So after like they graduate and come back like to PDO, how do you utilize these resources and win all these prizes? Like now you have like one. I think 6 local prizes. We want to see you like winning global and even international prizes as well. So maybe it's like good, like if you share the experience even with this organization here, like how do you really manage to keep up this standard? It's really high standard.
Thanks for the question. We are humbled to have won the awards. Alhamdulillah, it's based on the effort that we have done in line and the steer and the management decisions that have come across the investment. It's difficult to coin exactly what got us here, because it's a lot of decisions. But if I look a holistic picture, I would credit PDO's vision. So our vision to be renowned, respected for the excellence of our people while we are creating value for the nation and the stakeholders, pinpoints our people as our main asset. In 2018, one of us decisions which we proudly took was we already had excellence on a couple of silos. So we knew some of the departments which were going through the digital transformation, some of them which were challenged. We took a step back and developed what we currently call a digital ambition. So rather than focusing on 200 digital products, which we have in our pipeline, we looked at the high impact and high value use cases. And these are the 10 use cases we relate to in PDO. And any success of these use cases just makes, pushes PDO in general and partially the industry towards the optimum operating envelope. The use cases cut across computer vision, machine learning in general, deep learning, we have predictive maintenance, video analytics, and the complexities just continue. In the same year, we also understood the sustainability challenge. Proving concepts was not much of a complexity, and we already had experience in. So if you're looking at a specific rig or an asset machine, proving how you can predict failure for one machine, it's not really rocket science. What really challenges the industry and what challenges us is the sustainability of that concept and how you scale it from 1 rig to 40 rigs, 1 compressor to 60 compressors. So in 2018, we also formulated a digital center of excellence and recruited the best of the best options available in the local market. We hold Scrum Masters, digital excellence leads. We have digital business leads cutting across businesses, bridging communication with us, the famous data scientists, which we never have enough of, data engineers, and complemented with digital architects and UI UX. All in all, we hold 100% Omanized department. We address low complexity challenges within, which we develops our capability in churning out these predictive models. And also we hold the intellectual property within PDO. For medium and high complexity, we partner with matured organizations. Shell, being a technical partner, is also one of an entity we capitalize on our relationship with. The whole concept is, if we can do it our own, we do it. If we can't, we bring the best to do the concept and scale it for us. But the sustainability challenge is something we always take in and address. One also point, the journey that we have taken, apart from AI development, one good journey which we also started in 2018 is our RPA journey. And it's not a matter of how many processes we've automated, which is important, and all the 30,000 man hours we've supplemented with the digital workforce. What we actually look within PDO and which we're proud of is we hold 100% Omanized department, which is running the digital, the RPA journey. But not only that, early on, we knew that this is a technology, just like any other technologies within the fourth industrial revolution, that is not going to challenge our company, our industry, but challenge our nation overall. We took a step into making sure the new technology does not become new for a long run. We've localized RPA. Today, we have 75% of our contractual resources as Omani supporting PDO. So I believe this, the fostering of and the oversight, the holistic set on people and the excellence itself is what gives us the competitive advantage.
Oh, thank you. 100% like Omanization or like department with Omanis, which is like very impressive. Now I'll move to Dr. Hussein Salmi. Dr. Hussein, you are well qualified with a PhD degree, and now even like heading or having a role like as a acting record at the German University of Technology in Oman. Many candidates use that might question themselves now, why should I bear the burden spending 4 to 5 years at a university Why don't I make it like short and simple? I just learn some of the future skills and then join the industry. We have Laila here as an example who like changed like her background and moved to one of the like demanded skills nowadays, and she's an icon now in smart cities. So having said all that, like, is a university degree is necessary for success? Why should or what should we like consider when we like want to like educate our let's say students? Should we consider the degree as the first station only, and then they need really to gain the future skill themselves? Hope that you got my question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First of all, we have to think about education. Education is not, I mean, we have to distinguish between academic education, which is university, and vocational training.
Good.
And unfortunately, during the last 10 years, a lot of changes in the people mind that everyone would like to get a degree by the end of their career, which is not correct, because if we look back, I mean, how was it in Europe or other countries? They have the two streams, which is vocational and academic. Unfortunately, last 10 years or 13 years in Oman, there's a lot of scholarship which was sponsored by the government, which was good move to educate the people. But unfortunately, that has an effect on the vocational side of the people. So now I think the government is realizing the issue, and now they are going back to the situation where vocational is needed. In other countries, only taking the example of Germany, only 40% of high school leavers are going to attend school, I mean university. The rest is going to be either to be entrepreneur, or they are going to be in the vocational centers. Now with the changes of, I mean, COVID has made a lot of changes in the system. People, especially universities, are concerned about the future of university, how the university will look like in 10, 20 years from now. Are we going to shift totally from universities to online? I mean, COVID last 1.5 years shows that we can really teach online, but is it going to be continuing? I don't think that's the case. In my opinion, I mean, we can see now when the number of cases been less than, I mean, and we are accepting students in the universities. The students are eager to have this kind of interaction, to go back to the university, to study face-to-face, more than just going online. I think what is going to be in the future is the hybrid system, where we have online and face-to-face teaching. On the other hand, a lot of courses are delivered online. I mean, they are online courses. What we need as a university is really to develop the skills of the students. And what I mean is mostly is not only the technical skill, is the soft skills of the students, because that will make the changes on their life. I will go back to a survey done by the Minister of Higher Education maybe 5 years ago, and was looking into the skills needed from the employer side and the employees, or the job seekers. And it was very interesting, because when you look back into the technical skills, was not ranked #1. It was mostly the soft skills, starting with the English language, then going back into the soft skills, analytical skills, and all those skills. The technical skills which is needed in the job, which is required, it's came #6. That shows that really the employers are really looking for the one who will fit to the job. They are open to change. And maybe today's session in the morning was discovered. I mean, there are different people are coming from different backgrounds. And that's, I think, the future of the education. We are not going to have, I don't expect in the near future, we will have only one stream of programs. It's not going to be computer science, for example, only. It will be mixed or integrated with other programs. It will be like computer science with business, with engineering, with other skills. That's the kind of programs which I would expect is coming in the near future.
Well, thank you. Yes, you just made a statement at the end. You said like computer science will no longer be important. And today we can see we have AI here. And as you know, that AI is a multidisciplinary, which is like in touch with many other like fields like science, medical, arts, whatever. And you distinguish between the university degree and the training degree. And you said like, we have to make it clear that they are not the same, trying to point out that really there's a need for the university degree for success. I'll go to Kamilya. Oh yeah, Kamilya. Look, where is Dr. Babu? Again, he left us, you see. You know, he criticized about the syllabus at the schools and university. They are not up to date, designed 20 years ago. So my question to you as a head of school of the New World International, do you really update your course in the schools to cope with the industry needs? And if yes, like how often? If no, you need to justify why, because I talk about future skills. And so how your syllabus courses are designed to cope with the future needs.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much for me being here today. I want to take us back for a second before I answer your questions to what we heard today. And we heard three words. We heard adaptability, creativity, and innovation. And these is what we heard over and over and over from each person that spoke today about what's needed. So if it is adaptability, it is creativity, and it is innovation, let me just ask a quick question. How many of you have kids? How many of you have kids? Okay,
hands up, hands up.
Okay, half of you, about. Okay.
Me too.
About half of you. So when you sent your kids to school, and if you sent your kids to my school, and I told you we don't have grade levels, okay, not specific grade levels, and we don't do grades, how okay would you be? That would freak you out. You would think, no way. No, I have to know how my kid is doing. Did they get an A, a B? They have to do well. They have to get to the best university. They have to. So it's talking about adapting your mindset. It's completely talking about restructuring how we think. Back in the day, I don't know, most of you are not old enough, but if you saw Pink Floyd video, there was this video by this band called Pink Floyd, and it's talking about education. And in this video, there are people like kids on an assembly line going through, and that's how they go through the education system. We are in 2021 and we are still doing that. But yet we talk up here about innovation and creativity and adaptability, but we're not doing that. Or we are not agreeing for our kids to do that. So I want to take a second because he's asked me a very important question. Do I adapt my curriculum? Do I change? How is my curriculum any different from any other school out there? And I can tell you, I'm not going to sit here and praise my school, but I am going to tell you.
Please do.
Part of the reason that I was brought in to lead the school was because of my ideas that are radical in changing mindsets and making sure that the curriculum is there for the students. There is such a vast diversity among students, and students are different from person to person. And what they need is they need to understand how to use their richness of how their diversity, their ability to be adaptable, because kids are the most versatile humans on earth. And what happens is as they grow, we take them backwards. Stop being adaptable. Do it this way. This is right. This is wrong. Don't say that. Don't do that. But kids are the most adaptable humans on earth. So why do we think we have the right to tell them what to do? We can guide them. We can facilitate them. They have the information on YouTube. They have the information in TikTok. They have the knowledge. facilitate that process, how to use that information.
But don't you think that we need to filter this information to them sometimes?
You facilitate the process of how to access that information. Let me give you a quick example, okay? If there's your baby's born, right? The basic needs are to provide food, to provide shelter, and to provide care and love, right?
Okay.
Okay, now the baby is growing and it hits about 6 months.
Okay.
And the baby wants to crawl. Do we say, okay, honey, take your right hand, lift, straighten your elbow, take your left hand, straighten your elbow, now get up on your knees, now move your right, then your left? No.
No, we don't do that.
No, you put the shiny red toy in front of them and they have to figure out how to get and access that red shiny toy. That's what I'm saying. These kids innately want to learn. So give them the
Yeah, I
world.
do agree with this point, but when you stated that, I mean, we don't need to tell them what to do and they can access the information online. And so information is really available. We know, some of the information are very, very dangerous for certain ages. So I don't know whether you agree with me or not. Sometimes we read really to filter this information to them until they reach that level so they can really understand what is right and what is wrong.
So yes, I agree with you. You're asking about filtering, you're asking, but again, I ask you, if a kid innately wants to learn, why are we stopping them? I'm not talking about just let them go free and here you go, because of course there are going to be steps, but we have to understand how to be that facilitator to gain the access that they need of that information. If they're taking, why do kids take exams? Okay, why do they take an exam? To see how well they know the information. Well, why not? If today we talked about, for example, fractions, okay, and why did we okay, so here's something, show me what you know about fractions. It doesn't matter whether you made an F or an A, but the student that was not able to present their information or to give their information and show it to the teacher, let them redo the test. Let them try it again. Let them understand it in a different way. Show them a different methodology. So when you're talking about curriculums, we all want to say, let's go to Oxford or let's go to Harvard, but that it's changing that mindset. It's thinking, we talk about vocational and we talk about academic. Let's talk about mindsets about children that can be your best version of yourself. And how do I access that? Here's the information. We will give you what you need. And then you progress them through those steps.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go to Warith Al Kharusi. I'd like just to quote two important statements like mentioned by Kamilya. She said, we need to restructure how people really think and change the mindset. So you as an expert, what are the culture barriers to develop high performance skills? There's like a gap between me and Kamilya, and we'd like to eliminate or fill this gap. What are the future barriers or culture barriers to develop high performance skills? Shall we just allow the kids to go explore and so, or?
Thank you for the question. I think we can build on. And if I come back to what we said this morning, it was very thought-provoking, saying that these are the future skills. And it's all about, as we've said here.
Put the mic closer, please.
First of all, since this morning, and especially Dr. Salim and Dr. Amr and Dr. Abdullah, all the doctors, everybody talked about the future skills and how can people embrace them and how can they adapt to them. So to me, and I think we can also build on what Kamilya says, is that we need to break down the current mindset. And our mindset here is to memorize, our mindset is to get the grades. We got to look at a completely different way of doing things. And this is what I'm talking about. So our culture is actually bringing us back. And what I like to say is this, and this is quite thought-provoking, and I take it from Abdullah. Abdullah said that Oman has got a competitive edge. And I truly believe that Omanis are intrinsically very, very talented, especially when they're young. They have multi-languages, which a lot of other countries don't have. And they know if you have a multi-language, you can think differently than the people who just have one single language. So there's a lot of talent out there, young talent. We need to embrace them and bring them, empower them, break down the current structures that we have. We talked about the curriculums at colleges. And I'm one for them because I've been in this sort of vocational training for the last 10 years or so. And I find that these colleges, and I'm not pulling anybody down, but if you tell them that let's do logistics of tomorrow, the drones, etc., they don't have those. They talk about it, but in the curricula, they're still talking about trucking sort of curriculums. And universities are so rigid that by the time it changes, it's 10 years later. And the future skills are coming in. So to me, what we need to do is to build on the talent in Oman, the competitive advantages that we have in Oman, look at what's coming. The trends are, for instance, machines that will sort of work together with human beings. How can we have the interaction? And those are the skills we need. Now, the machine will never outclass a person because we have empathy, we have creativity, we have empowerment possibilities, we have the visions and the imagine. So how can we actually interact with that machine learning to do the best what they can do in terms of speed of calculations, etc., and our mathematical knowledge, which we can actually apply to them. So to me, these are things that we've got to look at, and we got to break down the current structures. And if we really want to be competitive, we really have to do what Kamilya was talking about, break down completely the schools sort of curriculums and make it, try and find the best practices in the world and bring it through. We've heard about Japan, Korea. Why not go and see what they do about machine learning? What about artificial intelligence? Go to the best security world, maybe in Lithuania, somewhere like that. But we always try to look at our small silo and we talk about problem solving, creativity. That's all very, very thing. We're talking about the future and how can we embrace the future. By the time you come to the future, things have changed. So learning to learn is what we really need to have.
Yes, by the time we come to future has changed, as Dr. Sultan stated today, your future might be the past in another country, and the past in another country might be a future in a different country. And so now I'll open the time for questions from the audience. If you have any question for the panelists, please. Oh, you want to add something? Okay.
I think when we talk about competitive advantage for Oman and some of the points that we discussed earlier, I think we need to go back and think about what made Oman Oman for the last 50 years, right? Okay. 51. It's been a welcoming place. It's accepted our family, it's accepted other families, it's accepted expats. And yes, as a country, we want to think of our own, and that's great. But when we're talking about learning, if we want to be an exporting nation, because we're only 4 million people, it's not enough to self-sustain just by selling to each other. We need to understand other cultures. And just like when someone from the West or someone from the East comes to Oman, we expect them to understand us. We should expect to understand them. And that's the only way we'll be able to build an economy where we can export anything anywhere. So when we talk about soft skills, emotional intelligence, it's about understanding both sides. And this is really what we need to, and this is not something new that I'm saying. This has been said since 1970 in Oman. And
exactly. Yeah, that's why I asked like Dr. Al Kharusi, like what are the culture barriers? So you added on the top of that one, like we really like need to understand other cultures, and not only them, they have to understand us. Also, we need to understand them, like, and then have like an open like market, so like others can come and invest and join. So they will participate in the development of the welfare of Oman's economy. And now I'm back to the audience. Like, if you have any questions for our like, yes, if you can just pass the mic. Can we pass one of the mics? We have 2 mics here, so you might just take one of them.
Who's on?
We're going to start with this gentleman.
Assalamu alaikum wa
Alaikum
rahmatullah.
assalam.
I think it's fantastic to see the young people sitting there and discussing about the future of the workforce dynamic, which really I'm impressed that. I work for PDO and very close with Saud Zakwani. So a lot of achievement there. I think the time and effort being invested has generated that, the results which you see today. But I think one of the areas, and also work in the Ministry of, MTCIT. I used to work very close with Dr. Dr. Saud. It's a very well-known figure in this organization. Now, I think working in the industry and also moved into the ministry, the most important which I see, it is the strategic partnership and collaboration between academia, research and development, and also the industry. Why are we there? We're there to address the industry need, because that's how you create value. That's how we realize the value. Now, one of the areas where we look, when we look into that angle, and I'll be talking about in my session, tomorrow, it is, are we investing today for the future? Are we investing that, the areas in our curriculum and the focus in terms of research and development, which we are addressing the industry objective and the industry need, and if that is missing, that's where you have the silos. And for me, is whether we dictate or we guide them, and what you have to guide them. I agree with Kamilya. You guide them, the young society to align with the industry need, and that's why you could see the alignment of, the future skill set, whether it's digital, whether technology, whether soft skills and what. And we talked about mostly on multi-skills. Of course, you need multi-skills, but you need domain expert also. Today, if I talk about the production focus, I was a reservoir engineer. You have got an AI who somebody developed it, but you need to have somebody who are sure what comes up and deliver the values or deliver the correct information and what. So this strategic partnership will continue, and it is not something as a big bang. It has to be managed, and it comes part of our DNA. The continuous improvement has to be built on it. Well, when we align it, that alignment tends to drive the change. But I think one of the areas where I would like to emphasize it, for us to keep our eyes and ears open to understand what is going on, as Warith said, globally. You don't need to reinvent the wheel if something is already in place. Let's move on. We capitalize it so we can accelerate the journey. And this is where we could see the journey of digital and PDO has been successful, because we capitalize the continuous improvement journey and lean as an area where you really remove the facts into the process, and then you RPA the process. If you RPA the process where a lot of facts is it fails. So think globally is an ecosystem. We integrate ourselves, we collaborate it across it, but also we understand that we are here to address the needs of the industry. That collaboration has to happen. That's more as a general comment from my side.
Oh, thank you. Well, actually, you should be a panelist today. We have rich information. Oh, tomorrow you're gonna be. Oh, thank you. That's really fantastic. You just made a statement about what Kamilya said, like we need to guide them. You need really to define the term guide, because you said guiding them means let them go, let them do whatever they want to do. And so we need to define the term again, guiding them, because again, it's come to culture and culture barriers. And so we might having debates again with you.
No, I want to clarify something.
Please do.
Okay, and this is exactly as Aditya said and Mr. Warith said about mindset.
Good.
Okay, when you facilitate a process of learning, creating a learning culture, you look at what your gem is, what's your source, and I said this earlier and I'm going to say it again. The children are the most adaptable humans on earth. So if they are, let's take it out of them. Let's learn how they do that. Utilize that skill that you say we need for to survive, to have a better future. Let's bring that out, okay, and facilitate that process. I'm not saying dump the knowledge on them of what they have, but allow their innate ability of that learning culture that they want to learn because they love learning. That's why they put everything they find in their mouth, in their ears, in their eyes, because they want to use their 5 senses to understand what it is. So what you're doing is you are utilizing the basic knowledge that's innate in every human, and you're bringing that out and enhancing it, encouraging it. And those are your entrepreneurs. Those soft skills don't need to be taught. They need to be brought out because they're already innately there. That is what I'm saying.
Thank you. It's clean. Yes, I'll come back to you. Just I'll comment on her. Yes, they need to explore the 5 senses that they have. So that's why they put whatever they found like in their mouth and so, but sometimes we tell them, yucky, don't touch it. It's gonna hurt you and so, yes.
So
Yes, please.
Yeah, a step aside of PDO, and I would share my few cents on, I do agree the educational system needs to change. Radicalizing it should not be an overnight pursuit. There's this question which a lot of conference we keep on hearing. You need to think out of the box. And I've heard-
Dr. Sultan said, what is the box?
I have a better question. Who's responsible on creating that box? And I think it's our educational system. I think we've ring-fenced some of the knowledge to our current and potential future skill set required, which the minute we graduate, the first question we ask is why you're not thinking out of the box. Sharing some statistics, the World Economic Forum published that fresh graduates first year, 50% of the knowledge that they gained on their first year, by the time they graduate on the 4th year, that's obsolete. It's not going to be used. What's more alarming is our elementary students today, we are preparing them for 65% of the jobs we ourselves don't know if they're going to exist, what they are. And then instead of making the box stronger, maybe collapsing it is not the overnight strategy we need. Expanding it should be the first focus, and more importantly, making sure we address what we have had. So communication, collaboration, creativity. We spoke about critical innovation, adaptation. We've also spoke about. There's also a resilience element into it. And most importantly, if we do not have the continuous learning, we are going to be challenged. Future skills, it's not a target. It's a goalpost which continuously moves. And we need to be ready now and in the future with the elements that make us human, way better than what machines can do for us.
Thank you. Dr. Staif, I think you have a question, yeah? The mic is there.
Thank you very much for you and for the panelists as well. My question for Ms. Kamilya.
Again.
I love that example. She said, just throw the toy and let him work to get it. At organization level, what could be that toy? So we can throw it to.
So at an organization level, I can give you examples, but I think we need to think a little bit before that. And it's exactly like he said, we are beating the innovation and the adaptability and the creativity out of children in our education system. I'm going to be blank forward. That's exactly what's happened. We have beaten it out of our children. And then they graduate and we expect them to say, you know, where's your creativity? So the question is, how is this being enhanced in schools? Okay, how is this being brought up in your curricula, in your teachings, in whatever that they're attending most of their life? Okay, and secondly, and then in the organizations, it will naturally come out because it won't be about here's your task. It will be about this is our organization. These are the tasks. These are the problems. help me come up with solutions. And then groups will will naturally form and they will solve that. But we don't think like that. We think about the IT department and the HR department, and that's not your department, and that's the finance. I don't know anything about finance, so I'm not gonna even talk to them. I mean, it's not like that anymore. So it's that mentality or the mindset that I was talking about at schools that's changing, and then growing through all the way up. And then organizations will naturally evolve.
So should we wait for the new generation 18 years till they reach the university?
No.
So, I'm trying to reach a point where we have an existing problem at school level, at university level, and this problem has been discussed for the past 50 years. And everybody is talking about the gap between education and
Industry and so on.
industry, and everybody is just standing for his position. Universities saying, oh, we have yani bureaucratic way just to change it. It's not easy to move it. Industry just asking for, demanding more qualified staff. So to have that gap, we would continue having this debate forever. But this is my personal point of view, because the way we built our education system is to give that basic science. So we need somebody graduate with the basic skills, basic science. We cannot move to a 3D printing. I'm teaching you a 3D printing technology. I'm teaching you AI technology. That technology would keep moving and changing, so we cannot keep up with the industry needs. Therefore, we need something in between, which comes to the training institutes. So training institutes more agile to the market needs. They can adapt themselves quickly. They don't need a board approval to change one course within a curriculum. So we, as a community, we should not continue criticizing the education system and blaming the industry. We know that the problem is there. It would take time until we come up to a midpoint, but we need to grow up those training institutes who can move faster and adapt quickly to the industry.
I'm going to let somebody else answer, but just let me say one thing to that. Again, let's just think about mindsets that we talked about. So why don't we stop thinking about separate entities? There are no separate entities. We are all part of it. So it's parents, it's training institute, it's universities, it's schools, but it starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with you, with your children, with your mindset, what you're teaching. Today, I'm taking you guys out. Let me show you what to do. Don't make it as only a vocational school because we're learning these skills. It's not a separate institute. The academics can be in vocational skills.
If I may add on, and I think you brought very good points here. I think it's an ecosystem. You got to look at it as a holistic thing. If we want to embrace future skills, we got to start with the kids. We got to go to the schools. We got to go to the colleges. We got to go to the institutes. Wherever we need to do to adapt to the new world, that's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And also, don't forget, we can leapfrog situations. Oman has that opportunity. And I think today, Dr. Abdullah said very clearly, let's rip up the current structures, start fresh, and I can tell you, we can go faster. And these are best practices. For instance, in Africa, you know, the M-Pesa or whatever it is with mobiles, they leapfrog, they didn't have the landlines, but the mobile did a lot more and a lot faster in Africa than we started using here in terms of digital currency transfers. So adapt to the new world, and maybe you can leapfrog, and if you don't check your legacy systems, you're probably better off, because today everything is everywhere. And I think, what's his name? Dr. Ahmed was talking about, if you can't use something, I'll use it, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's it. We haven't even touched that yet in Oman. Yeah. So let us look at it as a total ecosystem. How can we make Oman competitive? And you can only make it competitive by embrace the future and say, that's the future, it's coming, and it's not over there, it's today. And as you said it yourself, let's adapt the main skills that you need, foundation skills, things like mathematics, science, etc. They are from the school age, you have to teach them, but give them opportunity to learn. And you asked the question, what's that toy at the organization? Organizational value is also toys. People like to have their hobby horse. Allow them to do something. I'm sure they will be very creative, probably bring something for you, a lot of added value if you don't tell them, no, this is not your part, it's somebody else's part. If he's passionate, they'll give you something much, much more. So give them those passionate toys and give them specific initiatives that they can run and drive. Now, for example, this is what we don't learn here in Oman. There's a lot of best practices already in our backyard. For example, in PDO, there's a lot of good practices, and we've said it today. But how many of the new organizations actually go back to PDO and say, could you tell me what's the best practice? You know, so, but no, I want to go to Japan because I've heard something else there. But you may want to go to Japan, but in the backyard, start using it. And there are many good examples of good practices. Here in Oman, there's Vodafones and Omantel, etc. They have a lot of very good practices. But what we want to do is that, no, it's not to me, it's somebody else. And let's not also fill the gaps. The institutes are filling up gaps where the schools and universities are not doing. But instead of filling up the gaps, let's rip open why the schools are not doing what they're supposed to do. Definitely. Because in the end of the day, that's where they spend all the time. You don't want to train somebody 12 years and then go and train him again in vocational school. This is one cultural thing that we talked about. And I think I want to build on all of us what we're saying. We talk about instructions. In Oman, our culture is all instructions. You will do this. You will be an engineer. No, I don't want, I want to be a doctor. No, you will do engineering because I'm your father.
That's the point that I was trying to push you at the beginning, guys. That's the main concern in Oman.
Exactly.
Yes, I want you be this. I want you be that.
Yes. So this is the culture. And when I say this culture, it goes not only at home or schools, it also goes to workplace, etc.
How to change it?
Huh? Yeah, the changes are simple. Yeah. First of all, we got to enable and empower people. Like what Kamilya was saying, give them the toy, let them start being creative about it. But if they're doing wrongly, you can guide them, coach them, and these are things, facilitators. So schools are facilitators, universities are facilitators. Workplace is they want to do things, but give them an opportunity to shine. Don't put them in compartments. Don't put them in the boxes. Let them think out of the box. Allow them to do something wrong. They will learn from mistakes, and we all learn from mistakes. So kids, they want to walk, they fall how many times, but then they run. So, yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay, I might agree with Dr. Sultan to make you happy, because all of us who are from old schools, right? So there's no excuse for us, just to keep the same story, blaming the curriculum and so on. Because as Dr. Sultan said, we might update the curriculum and so on, but tomorrow we're going to have a new technology and so on. The most important thing in the schools that we get well educated and we get the basic skills. But the most important thing when we go to the work, because you might get the best student graduating from the best school, and then he will go to one of the organizations that they never empower the employees, the creativity or innovation. That student, believe me, who's graduating from the best university, he will die. He will die there. So it's really very important.
But we expect that person to contribute to make the changes.
Yes, exactly. So when it comes to the changes, because he will be so much motivated, he's going there and so on, but he will be really shocked from that culture, because Dr. Warith said something. We get to use that to get the instructions and so on. So we have to make sure that we are getting, a very open culture that can be, open, so it can empower all of the coming students or graduate students, so they can give them the opportunity to lead the organization. Do not get the instructions. So we should not always say it's about the education. They can get the knowledge and the skills anytime but we need to have a big focus with the organizations and their cultures. If they are innovative and creative, they will, empower the best leaders in their organization. That's what I just wanted to add.
Thank you. I want to hear from Aditya now, please.
I agree with a lot of what was said, but I just want to make a few comments. In terms of an organization killing a best student motivation, comes back to the student needing to understand the company that he's signing on for, or she. You can't just go by salary or an offer. Do you know the company's culture before you join them? Or are you just joining the company for the sake of the offer sheet that you have? Second, in terms of ripping up the education system, I don't fully agree with that, because it would be the same as me coming back and not agreeing with the way my business is run and changing everything overnight. The company had 40 years before me. I cannot just come and change everything overnight and expect it to be fine, because there's a lot of good things about the company and the way it was run. In terms of what I think we need, there's two very good examples. Dr. Hussein mentioned one about Germany. The way they do vocational training there is a combination of private sector and the government and the vocational institutes, where the three of them are judging the students for their qualification at the end. Having that experience from the private sector is very important, even if you look
and you recruited 2 candidates from their uni, yeah?
From GHEDEX, yes. And they were very good. And now one of them's with PDO and the other with a redo.
You lost them then.
I lost them.
They're happy.
I'm happy for them. They deserve all the opportunity they can get because they're hardworking, they're open-minded, they're critical thinkers. And I'm proud. And I hope we get more like them, inshallah. In terms of the other example, in the US, where I was studying, the private sector companies and entrepreneurs and businessmen are incentivized to teach in the universities. Not by syllabus, but just to come in and give their time. And they get tax benefits, they get other benefits. And I'm not suggesting that's what we need to do here.
Why not?
We can, but again, it's not just because somebody else does it that we need to do it. At the end, we need to figure out what works for Oman, right? Now, if we want to incentivize private sector to take on more local workforce, tell them that when they do go into the universities, they will be able to learn of the potential candidates firsthand before you recruit them, before they're on your payroll, right? Have that marriage between the universities and the private sector, like you do have with some government entities. And I think as long as it is not enforced and it is for a win-win scenario, I think everybody will come to the table. But it's finding a way to bring these people to the table, to bring people together. At the end, the government has to be a matchmaker, it has to be a regulator. These are the two main components that we need from a good government to have the private sector thrive.
Thank you.
Maybe I can add something here.
Okay, please do. Please do. I'll come back. I'll come to you.
I'm so sorry. Just one quick thing. Aditya said about that the education system maybe doesn't need to be completely overturned. Okay. I'm just going to, just a foods for thought. The education system was started, remember when we saw Dr. Amir's chart, there was we're in the 4th industrial revolution. And education started at the end of the 1st and the beginning of the 2nd. And it hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed.
I'm just going to.
Yep, sorry. I'm not saying not to change, but you can't disrupt everyone overnight. What I'm trying to say. So you need to think of a life cycle of how long a student is in school and university, and you need to affect that change from the grassroots and let it go up. You have to be patient about that. There's certain things that you can change quickly, but you need to test drive and see the impact that the new change will have as well. So I'll finish with one last point. If you think about our parents, the older generation, we were scared of them, right? And that fear stopped us from doing a lot of things. Today, we're not scared of our parents, but now we don't do many things that we should be doing as well. So you need to be in between. You have to respect. And you have to get yourself to a position where you want to do the best for yourself. So, but it's a happy medium between the two. So there's some stuff that's happening in the West, which is not great either, where you have kids who, they have no respect at all. And it's here as well. And that comes from leaving the toy and not telling them what to do. Right? You need a happy medium of both. You need guidance.
Okay, I'll move to Sadek now. I'll move to Engineer Sadek now, and then and then I'll come back to you guys. So please, by the way, we do have like one of the panelists online. So if you have any questions.
Yes, I have a question for Dr. Ahmed and also for Dr. Jamil and Kamilya as well. It's one question.
A question for me?
Yes, that's a difficult one, I know. I'm not an engineer, but I am afraid of doing my PhD in SQU and in your supervision. So.
Okay.
So my question is, I just want to mention that as organizers of COMEX exhibition, during the pandemic, we got the first opportunity to work with schools. What we did, we called it COMEX SchoolX, and we invited Omani public schools, private schools in Oman, international schools of Oman to participate in talking about, like you grown-ups, talking about artificial intelligence. And to my surprise, we saw great research at student level where students have worked with building robotics powered by AI, working on machine learning, like Dr. Jamil teaches at the Sultan Qaboos University, and artificial intelligence. The Mohammed bin Zayed University for Artificial Intelligence is like one of the unique one in the region. And these children are already doing and working on artificial intelligence, although it's not one of their core subjects in either the Omani curriculum or any of the international curriculums here in Oman. Kamilya can comment on that. So why do we wait for, Dr. Dabbagh, why do we wait for students to grow up when they've already lost their ability to learn and experiment and their curiosity to come into a university to learn artificial intelligence? This is one. Why do we have a course in Sultan Qaboos University to learn machine learning? And how can we connect Dr. Dabbagh, Dr. AlShaqsi, and Kamilya to see how these experiences or the case studies like Saud has won a lot of awards on big data and now in AI. How can we bring this? Because the kids are already playing with AI. So whoever wants to talk about this can talk about it. Dr. Dabbagh, thank you for participating from UAE and for your time. So maybe you could say something and then probably Dr. AlShaqsi and Kamilya. Sorry for asking one question with three panelists.
3 in 1.
3 in 1.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think here, one of the mistakes is being online because it's less interaction than being physically present with this gentleman. It's a really great question. I think here this is the role of the universities to oversee the social responsibilities to the society. The social responsibility to the society is to look after schools and to look after government entities and to reskill and to upskill the knowledge that they are disseminating at the university level. Let me give you an example of the great experience that we are doing at Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. We know that artificial intelligence is the future, is an umbrella of a lot of technologies under this great name. And Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence, as you mentioned twice, thank you very much, is a unique university even in the world because it's only postgraduate university research based in artificial intelligence only. We don't have any other tracks than artificial intelligence. That's why we have the talents, which means the cream of the cream student that we are hiring this to be students in master's degree and PhD. But we have also the professors, would they have the industrial experience at the same time they have the research track on artificial intelligence. Now, how to use these talents? This, as Dr. Jamil mentioned, this is what we call them the talents, how to inject them in the society. First of all, this, as you mentioned here, this is the schools. In the schools, Kamilya said, and the other colleagues also said, but in other words, this all what you said about analytics, problem solving, critical thing. These are the soft skills that it has to be built in early stage. And here, this is exactly the adaptability, that the soft skills should be started earlier. And here we can reduce the gap of adaptability between schools and university in the future. This is one. Learning AI in schools. Why we say AI here? We can say logic. Thus we can learn first about the logic. What does it mean, true and false? Okay, this start with the foundation, with the fundamentals. We know that everything in life, in digital, it starts with 1 and 0. And 1 is true and 0 is false. But children should learn about the 0 could be the true and the 1 could be the false. And here, playing with the logic will lead them to program in Python, in a very basic Python, in Crash, and they can program a small robot. But here, programming the robot, they have to know this is forward and backward of moving this robot. It has a sense in logic, okay? And this is the most important thing here. If we do it, I think this is a great step. This is to link university. Even we are in a very high degree towards this pupil, this is they can learn the fundamentals of anything that could be done for the future of jobs. AI, computer vision, like a camera, simple camera here, and tell them this is how to do the edge detection in a very simple way by using logic, by using other aspects, simple aspects. I think here will help them to construct, as I think, Kamilya, thank you. This is, you say this several, but I will say it in one word: discovery. A pupil in school, they should have the discovery skills. In this case, they have to discover by themselves, and they have to detect this logic is true or false. And the responsibility, as I said, at the university, and even for the German university in Oman and other universities, Sultan Qaboos University, we know they have the social responsibilities on upskilling and reskilling of the new skills for the future of jobs. Like we have computer scientists, we have a lot of computer scientists in the market. But are these computer scientists able to do AI? They are able to solve the problems in machine learning. They are able to create a deep learning algorithms. I don't think so, but we have to reskill them in this case, creating kind of a tracks at the university level or on the vocational training level here in the professional services that we can take them and reskill them from computer scientists to be data scientists, from computer scientists to be data architect, from computer scientists to be a real AI developer. And this is exactly, I don't like to be so long here. I think this is the main things to do, is to adapt the university, which is the leader in injecting the right talents in the country, and here to be 100% fit to the qualification framework of the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add something?
Yes, for sure you can add. I just want to ask one more question to Dr. Dabbagh. During the event when we had one of the school child, I think about 11-year-old present in an Omani school, Omani private school, they came up with a solution for a problem which is very common here in the GCC region, is waste segregation. These kids saw a problem because they were at home during pandemic of a lot of waste being collected. They came up with a machine to segregate waste. So you throw waste and they segregate. Now I know that there are universities, there is university research which goes into industry, and I'm sure you're working with companies in the UAE where student-led research goes into the main industry. But is there an initiative to look at these young kids because they see problems differently? Their thinking is very different. Is there something where you work with schools to see if there's an idea which can help the real world?
I think here it depends on the universities. I think here you have some universities where they have innovation centers. And here this innovation is the step towards industry and the society, I think, with the academic talents at the university. And here that you can have this pupil to come, or this students to come to this innovation center and to present or to pitch their ideas. I think here to a professor or to other students, to mentor them and to enhance their competences, I think, in that level. It happens here. Yeah, I see in different universities, they have innovation centers, and I encourage most of the universities to have this type of innovation center, which is an hub of collecting these talents from schools with the talents of the university and talents from government and industry to be in a very innovative area here, and to discuss even a small idea coming from school. It could be a great idea for the university as a research project, or for the country as a strategic product.
Thank you, Doctor. Sorry, I'll just finish off in two words. Like, as I mentioned earlier, there's a university in the States looking at or already announcing MSc in curiosity. And the children at the level which Kamilya handles are at the height of curiosity. And here we're talking about universities introducing MSc in curiosity when it's already there at the entry level. So I hope to see that innovation centers in schools where student ideas at very low level, at very lower level of classes, where they have an idea, and universities like yourself and SQU work with them and bring it with a company like BIA, who won the award for people and culture today, for a solution like waste segregation, which is for sure a big problem here. Thank you, and that's all from my side, Dr. Shaks.
Okay, thank you. I'll answer your question and then I'll pass the mic to Kamilya. You asked the question like how to link Sultan Qaboos University with Mohammed bin Zayed Uni of AI and with Kamilya School as well. Well, we at Sultan Qaboos University, we are open for any collaboration or research or project. We already have collaboration with Cambridge, with Oxford, University of East Anglia. They are all in the UK. Also recently, as you know that from the last conference, we have a collaboration with Aramco. With the Aramco person who came here, who was so impressed with the work that we are doing here. So we are all open and we welcome any collaboration, and we're glad to hear that Mohammed bin Zayed Uni is only specialized in AI. That's so impressive, and we look forward to join their project, or even them to join our project. Now I'll pass it to Kamilya if she wants to add anything, and I think then it's time maybe to call it off if we are running late, unless you have any questions. Go ahead, please.
I'll keep it short. I'll just say that I think it's very important what you said. And it's like I started out when I first started talking about breaking down age barriers, not thinking of that milestones are exact, that they have to happen at a specific age, but the curiosity level and the learning culture is its greatest in the youngest children. So utilize that and collaborate not just with universities and so on, but with the schools, and grab them and send them out there to learn from the rigs. I took my kids to an oil field. They had to get HSE trained, and people looked at me like, how are you training 12-year-olds? How are you training 14-year-olds? But we did before we could take them out to the field to understand how we drill for oil. I learned that my kids understood it quicker than I did, of how they drilled for oil, how the machine worked, how the drill went there, how we put the parts together, so on and so forth. And then they started to put this together in other projects that they did. So what I'm trying to say is, when I talk about mindsets, it's not what we think. Be open. It's okay if that kid had thrown his Lego all over the floor, but look at the way he's thrown it, and what did he build when he had access to all that Lego? But the first thing that the mom's gonna think about in many cases is, why haven't you cleaned up the Lego? But what did he build? Encourage the creativity, okay? Develop it. We want to see it in organizations. We got to develop it from down here. And that's what your schools have to do. That I'm pleased, parents, I am telling you, and as a community, if you want to build a knowledge-based economy, it has got to come from stopping us from beating out the innovation and the creation and the adaptability of children. It's got to stop.
Good. So today, once I go back home, the first thing I'll do, I'll tell my kids, well, look, today, do whatever you wanted to do. I won't stop you.
I did not say do whatever you want to do. What I am saying is, what would you like to do today? I want to go jump off a building. Okay, so let's go to the building. Take your kid, put him on top of that building and say, you want to jump?
Jump.
And he says, okay, he says, yes. I said, what, do you have wings to fly, or how are you reaching the bottom? Discuss with them.
What if he or she jumped?
Okay, listen to me. 99% of the time, your kid's not gonna jump, okay? They're not. What I'm not saying, push them. No, but you see, you're not even, I'm not picking on you.
I got your point,
but
Barbara. I'm just
trying to
trying.
tell you, be open, okay?
I got your point.
Because 99% of the children, once you explain and discuss with them, they're going to understand. There isn't a massive innate ability that we don't even touch. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. I love
Okay.
debating with you.
Excuse me, can I add one comment before you close it up? I
Okay.
think there are a few things which really come up fantastic. I like Dr.
Sultan.
I call Sheikh Sultan. Yeah. There are a few things here.
He give hard
And
time for
also,
his students, by the way.
The good stuff from Sadiq. I just want to emphasize it. We emphasize that we go back to the university, to learn the machine learning and all that, because we are working in a reactive mode today. We're not line and collaborate in partnership within the industry to really get the needs of where we're going. And we reacted because, oh, there's a need of RPA, then we need to train people on RPA. I think that's where collaboration comes in place between research, academia and industry to address the needs of the industry. That's where we can provide. But I think one of the areas really important, which came up, and then I like to emphasize on what does it mean from an organization point of view? The challenges of organization continues today. The budget constraint will continue. The resources constraint will continue, and they will continue for the future. We're not getting away of that. It is to create the governing structure which allows the creativity and innovation. And then mostly, if you talk to many people, they see governance is about top down. You instruct what to do. We have seen in many areas. I think we were discussing the other day on South Korea, Singapore, and what is there a governance structure which supports? We want to improve the life of the citizen. That's why we're here for. And you allow the citizen to contribute into the regulations, improvement of the regulations, because sometimes the regulations comes part of the blockers on moving forward. So all of these, they're not new. They've already happened across the globe. That's why they're successful. We need to learn from them. We need to capitalize from them. We need to replicate if we can do it so we can accelerate the journey. That's my view.
Thank you. The last question before we call it off. Oh, last two questions then. Could you please pass the mic in the back there and then to this gentleman here? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
This is Musa Al-Amri, co-founder of 3D Factory, which is a company here, a 3D printing company in Oman. We think that we have the largest 3D printing farm in Oman. Actually, I have a question for Dr. Hussein. The question specifically about my area, my field, which is 3D printing. Now, we talk about future skills, and we know that these are important skills. And like for a young technology, which is 3D printing, we need to make it very specific. Which skills do we need? Actually, when we talk about 3D printing in my company, now I have 9 employees, which are Omanis, but we need to innovate every single day to be alive in this harsh environment, like this new technology. Now my question, how can I find these skills that I need? Like if I want to bring a new employee to my company, how can I find the right skill for this kind of environment? And also, isn't it a good idea to have very specific future skills to brought attention to these skills in the manufacturing area? We need these kind of skills because 3D printing are going to Mars. We're going to build something there, right? In the space. So don't we need very specific skills like let's say it, additive manufacturing skills. To understand what are these, what is this technology and how can we use it as a skill? don't we need to bring attention to this kind of skills?
Thank you, Musa. I think for your question, the best to answer is yourself. 3D Factory is one of the successful entrepreneur companies in Oman for developing their own 3D printers. And I will really appreciate the way you are doing. I mean, it's very short time, but we have been very successful. Of course, you have selected your team, and I think you selected your team based on curiosity, more or less. Their background doesn't matter if they are coming from IT or they are coming from mechanical or mechatronics. It's all about their passion, and that's what we can learn from it. Going back, maybe the point here, maybe even the award what we get as GHEDEX today was about the first 3D house, printed house. And actually, GHEDEX just bought the 3D printer house, 3D printer house, and we are going to launch the first house next week. And when we look back into this as a new technology, what is about this technology? I mean, have we really asked for people with different background or skills to develop to run the machine? Actually, what we needed is almost 2 weeks of training. That's what was needed to run and now the whole house is printed by Omani, our graduates from GHEDEX, in addition to our staff. So all Omani team is working in that house. And you can see they are really trying to create more ideas out of this 3D printer. So it's not a rocket science to develop it. I think it's a matter of getting the know-how and getting, it has to have passion as well. I mean, there's curiosity and the passion behind everyone who are part of this team. So I would just to brief, it's all about, I think they have the technical skills, just need the right formula to let them work on it. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the last question over there, please, if you can go.
Dr. Jamil, may I say a few words only about this great question, please?
Oh, please go ahead.
Thank you, thank you. I think 3D printing is not only one skill, it's a set of a lot of skills. And building a house in 3D printing is completely different than building spare parts in metal 3D printing, or printing something in plastic in 3D printing. I think here we have, first of all, the material, which we need the know-how of the material. I think building a house, you should have the knowledge how to choose the right material. And here, this is the material design, could be coming from chemical engineering, or could be coming from other material science or physics or something like that. The other way around, this is like the mechanic of the 3D printer as a machine. And here, this is completely different skill, because the people to build the house, we need a civil engineer. We need this civil engineer to do the right calculation. And still, the civil engineer is a must for this house. But his way of building the 3D printer house is different than the way he will build a normal legacy house, I think here. And having the machine, piloting the machine and programming the machine, we need the IT skills, or we need the mechatronics or something like that. Here, I think I can answer to this gentleman. It depends where are you going with your 3D printing machine. And here you define the right competences that's to be built for this and for the product. And here you select the right content. You can't find it for one person to do all this job. I think this is a teamwork of different competences at the same time.
Thank you, doctor. So, no, thank you.
No more questions, Dr. Shakhsi. After you finish, I just need to give a few minutes to my colleagues. The
I'm
ladies
done.
are waiting.
I'm done, yeah.
So you want to
Please go
thank-
ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, all the panelists. Just be there. I will. This was supposed to happen in the opening ceremony part, but we kind of like had a lot of useful things. So I want to just give like 2 minutes each to my colleagues, the Omani young ladies there.
And I'm the representative of Comic Series of Events. Most of you may know comics as the annual official largest tech show in Oman. And this year, comics is going to be different and moving forward. We started working closely with a number of supporting government organizations and towards Oman Vision 2040 to achieve digital transformation in government, companies, societies, and individuals. Thus, we started working and focusing on specialized events throughout the year. And we started off with the Big Data and Analytics Meet that was happening last month. In the first quarter of next year, we will focus on e-health and digital transformation in the healthcare sector. For the 31st edition of our annual comics show happening in the second quarter of next year, it will feature e-government pavilion for ministries and authorities to showcase their steps towards digital transformation. We have the business arena for enterprise companies to participate and showcase their products and solutions. We have the AI conference, which will be the largest conference on artificial intelligence with about 500 seated people. To encourage competition between organizations, we will have the award ceremony. And for the banking and fintech zone, we will have local and international fintech companies showcasing their new technologies. The tech venture is for ICT SMEs, and we aim to give about 150 SMEs the opportunity to promote themselves at comics. Moving on to the third quarter of next year, we will have the cybersecurity conference, and lastly, the digital insurance conference on the fourth quarter. With this, we hope that we cover very important topics in ICT, and comics is evolving to touch every interest group of the IT sector. We look forward to your participation in our upcoming series of events. And now I would like to call out my colleague, Khawla. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And welcome, Hawra. Khawla. Oh, I heard it Hawra. Okay, Khawla.
Hi,
Thanks for
everyone.
correcting me.
I'm an assistant researcher from the Arabian Research Bureau, which is the organizer of this event and is also an Omani market research and consulting company established in 2003, operating in Oman and the GCC. Arabian Research Bureau extracts market intelligence and information using the necessary studies and technology, depending on our clients' specific needs, to get the useful insights that helps them make better decisions and have a better understanding of their external environment. But no matter how much technology evolves and advances, it cannot replace us humans, and it definitely cannot be operated without us yet. I mean, who knows what the future holds. In our previous conference of Big Data and Analytics, we spoke about the importance of data, but I also mentioned that it has to go through people to be refined and made valuable. And so we know and feel the importance of human resources and its value, and have an understanding of it and the need for it, because we are constantly recruiting a large number of data collectors, interviewers, and subject matter experts, and members for our data panel. And of course, we would love to have any of you join us. Human resources plays a key role in developing, reinforcing, and creating a culture of an organization, which plays into our ethics and our standards, and results in good quality and reliable and accurate outputs. We have worked with many international and local organizations from different sectors, which are run by wonderful, resourceful people who we take pride in working with. So thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you enjoy your lunch break. Thank you.
Thank you, Khawla. These kind of forums are very useful. We had the chief guest at the Big Data and Analytics Meet, and the CEO of NCSI, and now we started to work closely with the CEO of NCSI, which wouldn't have happened if we did not have such a forum. So please give your support to our colleagues and see how your organizations, whether it's a school, we have Comic School X, we have schools coming to the GHEDEX exhibition, companies like PDO, we started working very closely, understanding each other, appreciating each other's work. So give an opportunity to our comics GHEDEX research, because we find this very useful and beneficial to all of us here as stakeholders. So thank you so much, Dr. Jamil. We can have lunch now, and I would request all of you to please stay back, because we have another useful session with a lot of presentations after lunch. And for those who cannot stay back, we are on Zoom, as Dr. Ahmed Dabbagh from UAE has joined. We also have audience on Zoom. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you, Dr. Dabbagh, for coming. And like in the last event, we managed to make a connection between the world's largest energy company, Saudi Aramco, which I'm sure would not have been possible unless the chief scientist came here, cybersecurity came here and connected up with Dr. Jamil, and now Oman and Saudi with, is working, and we are very happy to see that collaboration. So we look forward to something useful happening from this event, Dr. Dabbagh, where yourself, your university, with SQU, with companies here, schools can start to work with. And that's like what makes us happy as Arabian Research Bureau. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, panelists.
Thank you very much. Thank you.